Hey guys, welcome to the season 2 of GirlUp Mukti Podcast. We are your host, Tushang Bhardwaj
and Michelle Singh Olak.
We are the inner voice that tells your story,
Our story.
So Michelle, are you excited to kickstart this new session of Mukti's podcast?
Absolutely, Toshang. This season will be packed with some amazing and insightful sessions for all of you.
So, good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, before we start on with the podcast, could you please introduce yourself?
My name is Seema Diwan and I am president of Taalash Association. This association is working against human trafficking and ensuring the rights of women and children.
So, ma'am, when did you start with the association and what exactly were your thought and aim while starting this?
We started our organization in 2013, but before that, I volunteer myself in government shelter homes. So when I was volunteering there, I noticed that different organizations are working in different segments, and the child is as a whole person cannot be divided into segments. So when we are addressing one child, this child has a background history and child has a future to go. So where we have to see a child as a whole and we have to address all issues, not only rescue, not only sending the home, not only putting them into orphan. These different segments are not completing the child. So we thought wherever we will get along, come across with victim of whether it is women or whether it is children, we will try to touch them completely so that it will bring change into their lives. This was the motto. With that we started that there are many organizations there, but our organization should be unique organization which will complete the person, will see the person as a whole and will try to address maximum issues of that person. And for that we have to coordinate with other NGOs, government organizations, police and all. So we will coordinate everything for that person to complete the whole picture. So this was the purpose where we started Taalash.
Okay, so the initiative was just amazing. And like you said, the uniqueness should be there. So, ma'am, talking about uniqueness, what exactly were the limitations which you found when you started off with the organization?
First limitation itself made me to start the organization. When I was doing all these things as a volunteer and as a person, the first question from all the department was, what is your interest? Why you are doing all this? How do we recognize you that you are a right person? So when as a person you are running around to do something, people have a doubt on you. As a person, I am not being identified as an honest person to run after to complete something.
True.
I should be registered somewhere as an organization. So this is the first demand and first limitation which I found, which forced me to register one organization.
So were there any backlashes from the other associations, or did you face any sort of problem with finances, or since you were starting it from the scratch, did you face any kind of a problem from the outsource, from the government as well?
See, government, first of all, we were not expecting anything from government, and we just believe it. We don't want to become a huge organization, or we don't want to establish a kingdom.
Yeah.
Our aim was only whoever comes to us or wherever we see the violence is happening or justice is not being produced, so we will address that issue. We don't have to show that any database, or we don't have to show anyone that we are doing so much. Purpose was only to serve, and for that we started, and we thought, okay, we searched also, and we tried to approach the government also to, if we can be supported, we can do miracles, but we found that in government department, it is
Yeah.
very difficult to get from them. So in 2013-14, I was very much passionate about what I was doing. Every day you fix one smile, you feel that you have done something.
True.
And it inspired me without money. So now money is required. If you want to do something in organized manner, you need few people to get it done, and all
Exactly.
people are not mad and passionate like me. So we have to hire and we have to pay. So for that we thought, okay, we should be a self-sustainable, because we are not going to get a grant from government, and we really don't want to run after it. If someone is not recognizing you and if someone is trying to refuse you, you should not invest your energy in that direction.
True.
So we established some service apartments, our own business. So from there we will get the revenue and we complete our work. Maybe it is on small scale, but we will be able to run our show. So till now, from 2013, we are self-sustainable organization. We don't
Self-financed.
anyone for the money. Some small donors are there. Yes, they are very regular. They like to give without asking. So we have some strong donors also, but that is not what we are doing. It is not fulfilling that, but still we are managing.
Yeah, no, that's well said, because honestly, finances are the most important part when you are doing a thing on a very large scale. Because I feel that if we are helping out a victim or helping out a survivor, then for making them do something again from the scratch will need some finances.
Yes.
So that's a really great thing. So, ma'am, till now, how many victim have approached you since 2013?
It's more than 3,000.
Wow.
Nationally, internationally, we are able to support victim of Nepal, victim of Shanghai, from Uganda, from Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and nationally other. Apart from Kerala and Kashmir, we have done all over India.
And ma'am, do you think family plays a very important role when it comes to violence? Since our topic for this podcast is family violence prevention. So, as per you, what exactly does a family play in a person's life?
See, in Indian setup, the main problem of violence is for children. We think as a controller of children.
True.
We don't want our children to flourish as they want.
Yes.
Till the age of their maturity, we are after them. बेटा ये खा लो, बेटा वहाँ घूमने जाओ, बेटा बहू को यहाँ ले जाओ, बेटा बहू को मत ले जाओ. Till that age, we follow our children. We are not giving them freedom. We are a controller. We are not guide of our children. We are not guiding them. We are controlling them. This is one kind of stereotype thinking in our Indian families. Regarding the women, still so many families, I must say that more than 50% still think wife as an asset.
Absolutely.
They don't treat wife as a companion or as an equivalent partner. Even if they are working in IT factories, IT setup, or they are in village setup, the mentality is same. They are controller. They want a wife should ask me everything before she does.
True.
It's very embarrassing when I see that some ladies, they don't buy things. They like that color very much, but it is not allowed to wear in their family, or her husband will not like it. seeing in her that color, so she will not buy that dress. How much we are thinking about them, and how much we are controlled. Study purpose, uniform purpose, dress purpose, the way you behave, the whom to talk, where to go, what to do, what not to do, everything is controlled by a man in our society.
True.
So the very easy way or very easy method to control is hitting.
Yes.
Whether it is child, whether it is woman. So domestic violence persists in our society because we have a controlling mentality.
And ma'am, like you said, the children and wife mostly suffer. Have you ever come across any case wherein the male was abused by the the family?
See, when father is beating a child, what is this?
Yeah.
When elder brother is beating a younger brother, what is this?
Yes.
When you are torturing your old parents, what is this?
Yes. What exactly is the mentality?
Voiceless.
Yes.
Men are heardless.
Yes.
It persists. It is there.
So ma'am, according to you, what is the solution to this?
Solution to this is, see, we have to set our mindset completely. We have to change.
Yes.
And it cannot happen in 1 century or in 1 generation. It has to change gradually. Nowadays we started listening it is my life. It's me. Nowadays we are able to listen it. Slowly it will change. See, root cause is the mother here. Mother is differentiating the children. She is raising a boy child differently and female child differently.
Yes.
She is the one who is putting the seed in the mind of his son.
Yes.
Take care of your sister. She is the बहन बाहर जा रही है, चलो तुम साथ में
Women
जाओ.
are incapable.
चलो तुम साथ में जाओ. So sometimes a 20-year-old girl who is escorted 5-year-old brother. So still that mentality is there. Mother has to change. She has to nurture the both children equally.
But ma'am, don't you think somewhere the society also plays the role? Like talking about the mother, like you said, like the mindset, although it may or may not be that negative, but don't you think that somewhere the society, how they have been treating women is the main reason?
सोसाइटी में है कौन? एक पैटर्नल फिगर है.
Yes.
एक मैटरनल फिगर है. इसी को मिला के सोसाइटी बनती है.
True.
सास जब खुद बहू होती है उसको वही बातें बुरी लगती है.
True.
लेकिन खुद जब सास बनती है तो उसे वही बातें करनी अच्छी लगती है.
Yes.
So unless and until you are not standing into their shoes, you will not realize.
Yes.
जनरेशन गैप एक दूसरी बात है. जनरेशन गैप की बात यहाँ आती ही नहीं है. हमारा माइंडसेट है कंट्रोलिंग का. जो मेल है फैमिली में, जो हस्बैंड है, वो वाइफ को सिखाता है कंट्रोल करना बच्चों को.
True.
अगर तुम घर में क्या कर रही थी,
Yes. The question always arises on the
तुम
mother.
घर में क्या कर रही थी, which pinches her to do all these things.
Yes.
That she will control her daughter.
So that she is not
Control her
answerable to
daughter.
him.
She cannot run. So she is making this boy child to escort. यहीं से ये लड़का सीख जाता है कि मुझे कंट्रोल करना है. औरत चाहे कोई भी हो, बड़ी हो या छोटी हो, मुझे उसे कंट्रोल करना है.
True.
So this is our mindset. This is the way we are nurturing our children, and we expect society to change. Mother is controlling male child, female child by hitting. It's very easy method. Father is controlling mother by hitting. So domestic violence persists because controlling mentality is there. So let them grow the way they want. We have to guide them. That is not there.
And ma'am, which case has been the worst till now? Like, as per you, which one was the most horrifying?
See, in domestic violence case, there was a domestic maid who used to come in some families.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband was drunkard. So every night he will come drunk and he has a demand. This lady is working almost in 5 to 6 houses, and by the end of the day she is completely tired. And moreover, her reservation was that I cannot tolerate the smell of drink. I am not forced to tolerate this smell every
Absolutely.
night when I don't want, and I cannot tolerate this smell. So the rift always started in the night. No and yes. In between the rift starts and it becomes very violent, and he has an excuse, I was drunk. It became practice. It happened in one time when he threw a hot cooking full cooker on her.
Oh God.
And that cooker was blast opened and she burnt completely. So that is the time when we intervened and we filed a police complaint. Though it was a worst case, but from that day, that violence has stopped completely. I am happy for that.
So are they living together now?
They were separated little bit until he was controlling his drinking habits.
Okay.
Now they are living together.
So, ma'am, how did you got to know about this case?
Word to mouth reporting.
Okay.
So, ma'am, what about the cases who which do not come to you? Like you said, word to mouth. So the ones who are not able to reach out to you, how should they ask for help?
See, we have a helpline. We have given our number on website. I don't remember. So, from there some cases are coming and word to mouth are coming, and we are going through newspapers regularly where we see that if some domestic violence case is there and it is reached till police station, we try to reach the police station also, that if anyway we can help the counseling or we can help out the lady, so we also try to reach them.
And ma'am, to the ones who are really scared to come up and still are facing family violence, what would you like to tell them?
See, we stand behind them who really want to be supported and who have a courage to complain. There are so many cases which comes here and they tell their whole story. We invest our hours after them, but when we really tell them that, see, first thing is reporting, they step back. Reason behind that is, the once the daughter is married, that parents are not able to take her back even for supporting period also.
True.
So if I take some action, it may go worst.
Yes.
And relation can be restored. Both things are there. Parents are not ready to take back the girl. They tell her to submissive.
But why is it?
They tell her to tolerate. Once they get rid of daughter, it is not a marriage, it is a get ridding of the daughter.
True.
They are not with their own daughter. Problem is solved. You are gone means you are gone. That mentality is there. So once this lady will complain, what about her protection? After complaint, will she go back and stay again with that same man? What will happen after that? That is the main problem where ladies are stepping back to report. There is no place where after reporting they can live safely. And parents are not so supportive. So cases are not reported. And in some cases, ladies consider, "Mara to kya hua? Mera aadmi hi to hai."
Yes.
खिलाता भी यही है, मुझे पालता भी यही है, मेरी गलती है इसीलिए तो मारता है. They never realize nobody have a right to hit them. They never realize. मॉर्निंग में पिटती हैं, इवनिंग में साथ में पिक्चर देखने जाती हैं. So self realization is not there. What you can do?
Yes. Ma'am, would you just like to tell something about our victim which we have covered in our podcast?
See, this victim is lucky victim.
Okay.
Where you covered her and we have not left her alone. Husband is still separate. We made her husband to pay her some amount to support her child, and we have filled up the form for this child to get admit in the residential school. So that burden will be less from the mother.
Great.
We are doing some tuitions for her child so that he can be prepared for that competitive exam. And we have arranged 2-3 more houses for her where she can work. We have also increased her salary, and cloth wise, food wise, we are supporting. And we have taken back some of the asset which her husband taken away. That also we brought back. And now the husband is at the level of, he is ready to be counseled. So in this week or the next week, whenever he will get holiday, the couple will come for the counseling. I think he had enough 7 months, 9 months separation. So maybe some realization is there. So we'll try to restore back the family.
And ma'am, do you think that like the children and the ma'am who is the victim, she will be safe after all that happened? Won't that person having the anger and the frustration, won't it be there after all this?
When we are there, it's not possible.
True. That's actually a moral support which everyone needs after a while when all this has happened. And I actually I'm happy that at least some of these cases are coming up, because family violence is a kind of a thing which has been very normalized by the society in which we are living. But I think it is time that, since we are evolving, we are getting more aware about these things, it is the right time that we all as youth step up. So one last question, what do you want to convey to the youth?
See, first thing is, I want them to understand this domestic violence act accurately. It's not only for women. Any crime, any violence which happens in family setup is a domestic violence. Whether it is daughter, whether it is son, whether it is husband, whether it is elderly parents. So any violence which is happening in the family setup is a domestic violence. Mostly the women are beaten up, so this act has considered it is for women. No. Even some husbands are in horrible situation. They also need support. They also need to be rescued. But they are afraid to complain. So I would like to say that in any family setup, if such kind of violence is happening, they should give moral support to men equally. Men also are being harassed very badly because women are highly supported by law. So if they are good character, the family is at peace. But if she knows how to misuse the law, the man is at risk.
Yes, absolutely.
So the law has to be utilized for both, not only for women.
So, ma'am, do you think that the laws which are currently there, they are being used properly, and the justice which we are talking about is given at like properly and at the right time, or is it taking a lot of time? As because recently there was a news that the Supreme Court's oldest case just got resolved now. So, do you think that the time which each case needs is being properly fulfilled?
See, why time is given? Time is given to extract as maximum to provide the justice. You should have a right to say, and you should have a right to produce whatever you want to produce or say to save yourself. For that, the maximum time they utilize. Trick and tricks of everywhere it is there.
Yes.
So means delayed are there, means intentional delay should not be there while providing justice.
True.
The person should be given opportunity to produce the case properly, that's all. So delays are there, intentional delays are also there to harass the opponent. That is going on. The one thing is, every law has a backdoor entry.
Okay.
हर लॉ में कहीं ना कहीं गैप है. लाइक यू सी दिस ITPA, एक तरफ हम कहते हैं प्रोस्टिट्यूशन नहीं होना चाहिए, दूसरी तरफ हम कहते हैं कि आप मेजर हैं और अपनी मर्जी से कर रहे हैं तो ठीक है.
True.
तो इसके अंदर बहुत बड़ा गैप है. आप जब किसी को रेस्क्यू करते हैं तो पुलिस स्टेशन हैज ए लिमिटेशन ऑफ 24 hours, and if you have caught someone 3 o'clock, you have hardly 4 hours to ask something from the female, because after 6 o'clock female should not be in the station. By the time she was completely in the influence of their traffickers or afraid of traffickers, she will not open the mouth. This much limited time is not enough to counsel and make her understand, my dear, you are being trafficked or you are being exploited. So say, think and say. That time is not enough. तो उस टाइम वो कहती है मैं अपनी मर्जी से कर रही हूँ, and it is exploitation which is not being reported because some legal limitations are there, time limit is there. तो ITPA में भी गैप है, चाइल्ड मैरिज के अंदर भी गैप है. When we say someone eloped 16 years में consensual sex हो सकता है, एक तरफ कहते हैं 18 साल तक चाइल्ड मैरिज नहीं होनी चाहिए. So we are really confused. 16 साल की लड़की अगर कंसेंसुअल सेक्स कर सकती है तो 16 साल की लड़की 18 साल से पहले शादी क्यों नहीं कर सकती है? So we need to understand what we are saying. एक लॉ एक डायरेक्शन में जा रहा है, एक लॉ एक डायरेक्शन में जा रहा है.
So both are contradicting each other.
Yes, contradicting each other. एक तरफ चाइल्ड लेबर एक्ट कहता है कि 14 साल के बाद आप काम कर सकते हैं, जे एक्ट कहता है 18 तक आप चिल्ड्रन नहीं कर सकते हैं. So a lot of confusion is there.
Good morning, guys. Today we have Lakshmi with us. How are you?
I am good.
Not everybody shares what they have gone through. So how were you able to approach Seema ma'am and tell her your problem?
I was facing some problem at home and had no one to help me. Then I came to know about ma'am and then I told her.
There is always a limit to one's tolerance. So when did you realize it? Meaning, how long did you live together post-marriage and when did you go and talk about it?
मेरा मैरिज होके 10 साल हो गया. 10 साल के बाद उसको थोड़ा पीना ज़्यादा भी हो गया. मेरा फैमिली पे थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम में था. मेरा मम्मी मेरा
I have been married for 10 years now and he recently started drinking a lot. My family was in trouble. My mother and brother, everybody lives nearby and they knew everything. It was a love marriage and everything was fine after it, but he would invite strangers into the house and whoever came was suspicious. They would say things which would mentally disturb me. He would start drinking and then would beat me up. I was belted bare skin. He would beat me in front of everybody living nearby. He wouldn't let me sleep or eat. He would ask me to stand outside all night, chase me, and beat me on streets. Still, I lived him for 10 years and didn't tell anybody about this because I have a family to look after. I would keep everything within the house. I wouldn't tell anyone about this because nobody would look at me or my mother. Disclosing all this would tarnish my image in the society and I didn't want that. It was my family's problem. I married a drunkard, so it was my problem. I kept it within my house and my heart. My husband himself would degrade my image in front of my mother and brother, and other people would come to my house and trouble me or would tell me and make me understand, and I would understand and live with him. Yet he kept drinking and beat me all the night and used a knife on me. He would cause a lot of problem after drinking. I didn't want to live with him and felt helpless. I thought of suicide and had decided that I didn't want to live with him anymore. Around this time is when I got work at Seema ma'am's place. My sister had helped me in finding this work. I didn't know a lot, so after a couple of months, I came to know that ma'am could help with my situation. So I went and told her that my husband had beaten up after drinking. I had been beaten so brutally he broke my leg and my back. My children also feared him and didn't want to live with him. I told ma'am. She came and met him, took him to police station. He worked in factory, so I called him from the factory. The officers told to put him jail for 3 years, but then I asked them not to put him jail and brought him back home. He went to my mother's place and told them your daughter had put me to jail and made my family members go against me rather than siding with me. When I came out of station, I saw everybody standing with him. Ma'am had sent someone to station. With their help, I came out of station. My husband came back home and broke my phone, and then he went to my brother's place and stayed there for 2 months. He didn't like it there as well and wanted to live somewhere far away. Now we don't talk. I will live with him if he changes himself, becomes a good man, else it will all be just same as before. I've known him for 10 years now. I know how he is. Now I'm working woman. I have custody over my children. I'm living my life. Nobody in my locality helped me. I have two brothers and two sisters who lived in the same neighborhood along with my mother, but nobody till date has helped me or sided with me. They haven't even checked in on me to know whether my children and I are alive or dead. Except madam, nobody took care of me. From security to feeding me and my children, everything has been taken care by madam. I work at people's home and I'm living my life without my brothers and mother. I don't want to start living with him unless he changes himself. Living with him, my children also learned bad things. He would use abusive words in front of him, which affected my child. Because of his father, because his father abuses me, my child would also think negatively of me. I know he wouldn't change. I haven't even thought of my future as of now. Sometimes he calls me, I talk to him, and then again he would start bad mouthing me. My son and I have been living together for 7 months now. It has been so many months living apart, yet he repeats the same thing. My family doesn't talk to him, nor do I.
Has it always been like this in your family since your childhood?
In my family, I haven't been to my husband's house or haven't met his mother or anyone from his family. I don't even know the language. I don't know other languages than Hindi. In 10 years of marriage, I have never seen him go to his house, but his relatives have visited our place. They would come and stay 10 to 15 days. His relatives come and stay. I don't have problem with that. I haven't been to my in-laws' place because of language. My family knows my problem and my situation, yet they support my husband. My father died. I don't have my father with me.
So when you got married, was your father with you? Did he stop you from getting married to him, saying the guy is not good? Did anyone try to make you understand?
Yes, he was there. My husband initially, things were good when he didn't drink. He would treat our kid and I properly. We would go to work together For many years before having my kid, everything was fine. Small problems happened with the house, but when he started drinking and beating, things got bad. Whoever would come to my house, my relatives would side with him. He would manipulate my family members and talk bad about me to my brothers as well. I have tried to make him understand, saying we have a kid now and he shouldn't, but he was adamant not to change himself. I decided to not live with him. I can live without him. I don't have to beg on road. I am strong and capable. God has given me hands and legs and I will work and earn my living on my own.
So you'll keep your son with you?
Yes.
Thank you so much. It was nice talking to you. What else do you want to tell people so that nobody has to go through the same thing again in future?
I don't wish for any girl to have the same problem as mine in her life because I married the man I love. I married to live a good life. I didn't marry to get beaten up or bad mouthed about. As long as my father lived, he was nice to me. After my father's death, nobody would check upon me, and because of which he would beat me up because I had no one. He had courage to beat me up when all my relatives lived nearby. I wonder what he would do to me if he had taken me to his house. I had to take care of my child. If the father is not behaving well and thinking that this mother is also unable to do anything, it would be very bad for the child. No one checks upon me and my son.
Thank you so much.
Today we have Aastha Sharma from Taalash Association so basically what is your role in Taalash?
So I am the consulting psychologist in Taalash. I have been practicing with Taalash since 2020, although I started my practice in 2017. And I think the main thing that I would say I do here is all of the survivors that we have, either of domestic abuse or of any kind of intimate partner violence or human trafficking for that matter. I am the person who sits down to counsel them, provide them with therapy, because a lot of these situations can be very traumatic where they are coming from, to make sure that they are in an emotionally stable state in order to take further legal action if required, or to continue with their mental health intervention. That would be my job.
Okay, so could you please tell us, the listeners, what exactly all the counselors do to give the therapy to them, like if they are in problem or something like that?
Okay, so essentially when a case is presented to you or a client approaches you themselves, independent of whether it is through an NGO or directly, the first thing that you would do in a case where trauma is involved is to ensure that the trauma is not actively taking place. To understand whether they are coming from a background of trauma, in the sense that they had some trauma in childhood that is unresolved and they're trying to address it as adults, versus if they are coming from a place of active trauma, as in after the therapy session, they have to go back to the house where they're going to get abused. Right? Once we identify that, it becomes important to ensure the safety of the client, to make sure that when they go back home after the therapy session, they are not being abused. That we would do by making sure they are out of that home. So if it is required to place them in a different shelter home or a transit home, or make sure that they're able to have an accommodation with a friend, anywhere they're safe, right? And then to further continue whatever the legal proceedings might be. You'll have to file a report if necessary, and then come back and continue the therapy sessions.
Okay, so like as you get a lot of type of abuse cases, yes. So how do you identify with the signs that which is family abuse case?
Right. So in a family abuse situation, the dynamics are generally within the parent and the child, or an intimate partner, or their relatives, right? Okay. So if an abuser is abusing you either verbally or emotionally, physically, even financially for that matter, and they are related to you through your family, either by marriage, by birth, or through adoption for that matter, it would be family abuse.
Okay. So how do you deal with the victims of different ages?
Right, I mean, glad you brought that up, because family abuse can take place at any age, right? We have kids who are coming in with parental neglect, for example, and we definitely have intimate partners who are not at good terms with each other, being physically hurt or being sexually abused. Enough and more children as well as teenagers coming in with their cousins or other family members abusing them, or being body shamed over and over again itself can be very traumatic, and it actually counts as emotional abuse as well. So it becomes very important to identify, first of all, what kind of abuse they are going through, and then address the situation rather than understanding the age of the person, right? The two main things would be the kind of abuse and whether or not the abuse is active in order to address it, rather than worry about the age of the client, in my opinion.
Okay. Since the traumatic experience can be present at the ongoing session, so how do you make them come out of the, how do you make them comfortable so that they can open up and speak about it?
So generally we have what we call safe place exercises. We make sure that the client is in a physically relaxed state, that their breathing is normal, their heart rate is not increased. So a couple of exercises to make sure that they are physically feeling safe before they start opening up emotionally. In certain cases, if the anxiety is very high or if the depressive symptoms are extreme, we might require medication. That is the job of a psychiatrist. So I would refer them to a psychiatrist to make sure they're taking their medication before we come back and do those exercises, and then continue with the session.
Okay, so after all these things, are there any documentation which a person requires, like the victim requires, to come and take counseling or after counseling?
If you're asking in terms of presenting documentation or proof in order to start counseling, then no, they don't require anything. Anybody is free to walk in, and we just take a basic intake of their name, age, and where they're staying, and we can start therapy with that. But also, if you're talking about the documentation process of how we begin the entire case, again, as I said, basic intake information about their whereabouts, their age, their background, and then we do a history taking, the history of abuse itself, and any mental health history that they might have, that their family members might have, in order to assess whether they are at risk of developing psychosis, being in extended trauma or dissociation or something of the sort. And then, so that is the file that I maintain. The legal file will be maintained by the NGO office. So if there are any FIRs being filed, if there are any ongoing cases against their abusers, and how to proceed further, that's a separate documentation that is maintained.
Okay, so can you please tell the duration that any case that took a lot of time, that victim took a lot of time to overcome the whole experience?
I mean, generally trauma is something that takes very long to begin with, right? It is not something that you come in and, hey, one therapy session and I'm alright. That's not going to happen. I currently have enough and more cases where people have been coming to me for over 2 years and still trying to work over their traumas. One specific case that I can mention is a woman who was abused by her husband, physically, sexually. It was a really bad case, and there were instances where she was left tied up in rooms that were really dark, and had, knife held to her neck and such. So even today, even though she has overcome the trauma of being in that situation, she's still taking a lot of time working with me, trying to get accustomed to being in the dark without having a panic attack, or using knives for her day-to-day and cooking activities. So those are the challenges that she's facing on a daily basis, that she's still trying to address, probably around 7 to 9 years after trauma. Right? She's been in therapy for 2 years, yes, but the incident happened around 9 years ago. So considering all of that, considering case to case, I prefer not to give a timeline out for, hey, listen, you're going to be fine in so much time, because it entirely depends on how they are coping. Like if they're going back to the active trauma situation over and over again, the recovery can take much longer.
Okay.
If they are in a safe space, the recovery can be accelerated, but to a certain point. If they have physical symptoms, for example, we need to address that along with their mental anguish. So it depends.
So that's it for today's podcast.
Hope you all enjoyed the show.
But wait, stay tuned for our next episode, which will be out soon. Till then, stay safe and keep calm.
The podcasts are available on your favorite streaming apps, including Spotify and YouTube.